Wow guys, what a game it was. What a finish it was. The Washington Commanders beat the Buccaneers on a last second field goal that doinked right off the upright and in. It's going to go down in history as the divisional doink, and Jayden Daniels led this team to its first playoff win since he was 5 years old. It truly is an incredible story, but they aren't done yet, and I want to talk all about it. But before I begin, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so first off, before anything, let's recap what just went down. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers started off with the ball, and he started things off by completing an 11-yard pass to Mike Evans, and then a 23-yard pass. And then Chase McLaurin drilled a 50-yarder to take the 3-0 lead right out of the gate, and the rest of the first quarter was all defense from both sides. In the start of the second quarter, Jayden Daniels started spraying the ball around the field. He threw a pass to Brian Roberts for a 13-yard gain, he rushed one himself for 7 yards, and then he threw a touchdown that was caught by Dyami Brown down the middle for a 10-yard touchdown to put the Commanders on top 7-3. And then the Washington defense made another stand, and Daniels hit McLaurin for a short gain. He rushed for 6 yards, he had quite a few 4 to 5 yard passes, and he methodically marched the Commanders down the field, and with 2 minutes left before halftime, Zane Gonzalez drilled a 52-yarder to put Washington up by 7. This was a much better start to the game than when these two teams faced off way earlier in the season. You knew Baker was going to respond though. I know he's not like an elite QB or anything like that, but he always plays with a chip on his shoulder. He took off himself up the middle for an 18-yard gain, then he hit Mike Evans for 11 yards, a very common theme, and then he hit Cade Otton for a 12-yard gain, and then it was back to Mike Evans down the middle for a 20-yard gain, and Evans also caught the 1-yard touchdown pass to tie things up. So going into the locker room, the score was 10-10, and considering it was an away game, it was not the worst situation for the Commanders to be in, but I'm sure Dan Quinn was not happy with the defense allowing a touchdown with just 2 minutes left before the break. Out of the locker room, the Commanders started out with the ball. He threw a 30-yard pass to Dyami Brown and followed it up with another 24-yarder, but the Bucs defense did make a stand. The secondary stepped up, shutting down a few passes, and Washington had to settle for 3 to go up 13-10. And after this, the Commanders really would face their first adversity of the night. Baker and Bucky Irving started carving up the defense. He hit Mike Evans for an 18-yard gain. Bucky Irving rushed left for 19 yards, and then he had a 10-yard gain and a 6-yard gain. And then Bucky Irving leaked out of the backfield and actually caught a 4-yard touchdown to give the Bucs the lead. Washington just could not figure out Bucky Irving on that drive. Early into the fourth quarter, the Commanders defense got a big stop. Bobby Wagner received a Baker fumble, and this was a turning point in the game. And Daniels hit McLaurin to give the Commanders the 20-17 lead. It really was a complete turn of events. Baker did get the Bucs in field goal range to tie the game, but after that, we all know what happened. Jayden Daniels, with the time winding down, took it himself and somehow avoided Cansey to pick up the first down. And Zane Gonzalez doinked in the game winner, and all of Washington went wild. You could just see the pure joy on Jayden Daniels and the coaching staff's face. They pulled it off, and even though there is a ton they can work on, they are going to enjoy this win and then look to Detroit, because that game is going to be a dogfight. And I'll talk about it in a second, but first, let's look at the official numbers from this game. Jayden Daniels had 268 yards with 2 touchdowns, and he had no interceptions, and he also led the way in rushing with 36 yards as well. In the receiving department, Terry McLaurin had 89 yards and a touchdown, and funny enough, Brown also had 89 yards and a touchdown. And then Eckler, Ertz, Robinson, and Zacchaeus all had around 20 yards, so many guys contributed. And looking at the defense, Bobby Wagner led the way in tackles with 5, and he had a half sack and recovered that fumble as well. And Chin had 4 tackles and 4 assists, and Lattimore had 4 tackles as well. This unit definitely will have their work cut out for them against the Lions. They are going to have to watch a lot of film and make a ton of adjustments, but they did just enough to contain Baker and that Bucs offense. The Commanders really controlled the time of possession, they continued drives, and because the Washington offense was able to stay on the field, the defense was not always gassed. One reason why you should be confident in the Commanders going into the Detroit game is their experience with crunch time. They have had some absolutely wild finishes that you can't even draw up, and they will not be fazed when things get tight, but they will have to find a way to get the game to that point, because we all know how that Detroit offense can put up points basically at will. Daniels really did not look like a rookie playing in his first playoff game. He completed 24 of 35 passes. As I said, he rushed for another 36 yards on 13 carries. He also made plays he could not have made in the season opening loss to Tampa because of one big change. He kept his eyes downfield when he scrambled. It resulted in key plays such as a 9-yard completion to tight end Zach Ertz on a 3rd and 6 from the Commanders' own 12-yard line. Dan Quinn really turned this Commanders team around. Last season they won 4 games. At the beginning of this season, they had a projected win total of 6.5. They've won 12 games and made it to the divisional round. Right now, the Lions are opening up next week's game as an 8.5 point favorite. I think that is fair, but I do expect Daniels to rise to the occasion. And I also expect to see more of a ground game from the Commanders as well, and the injuries have been piling up for the Lions, especially on the defensive side of the ball as of late. Going back to that win over the Bucs, when Jayden Daniels was interviewed after the win, the first thing that he did was he shouted out the fans that traveled and made the trip. I know Washington isn't known for having like a traveling fan base, but they showed up. I heard the MVP chants break out at the end of the game, and those same fans need to show up to Detroit because that place is going to be loud and rocking. And you can tell that Daniels really plays with a spark because of the fans. And let's talk about Scary Terry more, because he really has been waiting his whole career to get to this moment, and this is the first time he has had an elite QB. And he is just balling, man. 89 yards and a touchdown. In the regular season finale, he had 62 yards and a touchdown, and against Philly, he had 60 yards and a touchdown. Here's what some of the guys had to say in their post-game interviews following the win.
I don't know. I can't really explain it. Obviously, I'm grateful to have the opportunity. I'm happy for the fan base, the franchise, everything it's been through to get to this point. So I'll just say, I'm just grateful and happy for everybody, including myself too. That's just the brotherhood and that DQ. That DQ set, the brotherhood, the togetherness that we have within the locker room. Obviously, the people that have been around has been in the locker room. We can see how close we are off the field, and we're always hanging around each other. Everybody gets along with each other. So I think those moments, when times get tough, we fall back on those type of moments.
For us to show the improvement that we've made in that time was significant for us. This is a really good team in Tampa, and we knew it would go down all the way to the wire. We had talked about overtime. We had talked about all the winning time moments all week. At the end, for us to be in the turnover margin, the plus, that's big for us. When we can get that thing into that space, we're good. I was certainly pleased defensively, much improved in the first half. This is a good running team, good screen game, and I thought early in the week, you may have heard me say complementary football is what we would need here. I thought the best indicator of that was the long drive in the second quarter. It might have been 16 or 17 plays going back, getting a punt, and then the 4-minute at the end to get a stop and then have a chance to, with 4.5 minutes or so to go. But we really expected a tough fight tonight, and it's exactly what we did. We really expected it to go down all the way to the end, and it did.
That's really all I got for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.